superseding indictment on Wednesday over the alleged plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The indictment charges 3 of the men with, quote, conspiring to use weapons of mass destruction. Prosecutors say 3 of the men attempted to detonate improvised explosive devices during a training exercise. Wrapping up the clock with a final story before our sports and weather. For the second time in many years, an effort is underway to designate shelter animals as the official pet of Michigan. The bill doesn't specify cats or dogs or anything else, but if an animal is in a shelter, it will bear the title of an official pet of the state. Blitzing backwards in an NFL draft recap. Despite rumors of the Detroit Lions trading the 7th overall pick, they decided to hang on to it and select Oregon offensive tackle Penei Sewell. Meanwhile, Michigan had a player go in the first round for a 3rd straight year. Shining some light onto this weekend's weather. After months of wearing mittens and glaring at rain clouds, the sun will finally be making an appearance with highs in the 60s and bright skies. That is all for tonight on GR News 6. Thank you.
All right, I had 501.
All right, thank you.
And contestant 59, if you are, check my screens. Okay, perfect, still there. So I will be doing your timing today. So I have cards.
This is really laggy for me. Can I go out and join back in one more time, please?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Courtney, if you can hear me, I started my ballot. I'm sorry, I forgot to start. Hit the start button.
I don't know what happened to her.
Maybe she's restarting.
I can assume so.
Do the rules follow, like, if she doesn't get back, she has 15 minutes from her start time to get back? Is that consistent in broadcasting?
I don't know because they have the prep rule.
Yeah. But this year with tech issues, I don't know. I can text and see.
If you can, just ask, because I think 15 would be kind of long for...
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure it's pretty honest. She's probably having some internet issues. Yeah.
Should we shoot the prep room a note too?
I think so, yeah, because the next speaker is supposed to be here in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes.
Should I go? I have the prep room Zoom. Should I tell them?
Sure. I would say yes.
Just tell them that we're like running behind, or not running behind, but like that someone's having tech issues in our room. Should I just?
Yeah, if you could just.
Situation, do we need to move on to the next person?
Okay, yeah, I'll let them know.
But the problem is it gives that one person more time.
Oh, right. Okay, I will. I'll let them know in the prep room.
Thank you.
Okay, I just let them know. I think they're gonna tell us what to do. I just told them. They're checking with the tab room, and then they'll let us know.
Okay. Ballot table. We have, the 60. I can text Becca right now, so that we can let the ballot table know.
I would say we should start with 60 just to keep it moving along.
Yeah.
And then
Can I
whatever they
text
wanna do.
Becca really quickly?
Yeah. Okay, so while she's doing that, I'll be doing your timing today. So I have the time card starting down from 4 minutes. Also, if it's backwards, I'm sorry. I just noticed that now.
Oh, no, it's perfect.
But I'll count down basically to 1 minute, and then I do 30 seconds on my hand here, and then the last 10 on fingers.
That sounds perfect. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Judges and timers ready?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Sorry.
We're just missing a contestant, so we have to make sure we let the proper authorities know.
Just really quickly before we start, they said that if BC 59 can't join within 15 minutes of their original start time, they'll be put back into the prep room and given another article to prep, but we can continue with the order for now.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. All right, then let me just make sure I have everything correct. We're on BC 60 now?
Yes.
All right. Judges and timers ready? China's groundbreaking space program, Biden's interesting investment plan, and a Michigan organization changing lives are just some of our top stories today. Good evening and welcome to Fantastic Five, where the news is fresh and in a flash. I'm your host, Aditi Kashi, reporting from the safety of my home. First today, we head to India, where officials in Delhi have been urged to find more sites for cremations as the city's morgues and crematoriums are overwhelmed by masses of COVID deaths. A second wave of the virus is ravaging parts of India, with 400,000 new cases reported on Friday, the biggest one-day increase on record for any country. The first consignment of emergency medical supplies from the U.S. arrived on Friday, part of what the White House has said will be more than $100 million worth of support. But oxygen supplies and hospital beds remain in desperately short supply across India, with relatives of COVID patients pleading on social media for help. And now moving to China for a story that's out of this world. China has launched a key module of a new permanent space station, the latest in Beijing's increasingly ambitious space program. The Tianhe module, which contains living quarters for crew members, was launched from the Wenchang Space Launch Center on a Long March 5B rocket. The only space station currently in orbit is the International Space Station, from which China is excluded. So far, China has sent 2 previous temporary space stations into orbit. And as the Chinese space program is taking off, so is Biden's financial agenda. President Joe Biden has laid out a sweeping investment plan for jobs, education, and social care in his first speech to a joint session of Congress. Delivered on the eve of his 100th day in office, the Democrat pitched some $4 trillion in spending, the largest overhaul of U.S. benefits since the 1960s. But the plans face a battle in Congress before it can become law. There has been widespread opposition to the proposals from the Republican Party, which is unlikely to back more government spending. And now for a topic that is making some waves. Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday took action to ban new permits for hydraulic fracturing starting in 2024, halting the controversial oil extraction method reviled by environmental activists, and called on the state regulators to evaluate phasing out all oil production in the state by 2045. The statewide ban on new fracking permits will be imposed administratively in 2024 by the State Department of Conservation, which regulates California's oil and gas industry. And now let's move on to Feisty Feelings, the editorial section of today's broadcast. The opinions I express are mine and not those of Fantastic Five or its affiliates. During the past few decades, concerns over global warming have increased drastically. More and more people are turning towards clean energy through windmills, solar panels, and hydroelectric systems, just to name a few. And I think Governor Newsom's decision is one that is leading our country in the right direction for several reasons. Firstly, fracking is known to be an extremely environmentally toxic industry, with groundwater contamination and methane pollution as 2 of the leading issues. Instead of working to preserve the environment, continuing fracking would destroy it even further. Secondly, fracking not only endangers the environment, it puts American health in danger too, with estimated health damages caused by methane leakage during fracking costing $13 to $29 billion each year. And around 10% of chemicals used during fracking are known to be toxic to humans and wildlife. Do we really want to continue a process that we know harms the environment and our health? Other states should learn from California and begin to pass anti-fracking legislation as well. Doing so may harm the oil and gas industry, but it creates opportunities for clean energy businesses to grow and increase that market. We need to follow and support Governor Newsom's example and work together to do what is best for the environment and for our health. That concludes Feisty Feelings. Feel free to share your opinions on our website, fantastic5.com. And coming back to the Mitten State for an inspiring story, the Michigan Muslim Community Council has won the Detroit FBI's Community Leadership Award. The honor has been given annually since 1990 to a person or group demonstrating extraordinary contributions to the education and prevention of crime in their communities. As part of FBI Detroit's Multicultural Engagement Council, Michigan Muslim Community Council has fostered dialogue between the Bureau and the regional Muslim community. And now for some wacky Michigan weather. Today we'll have a high of 66 and a low of 34 with humidity at 36%. And along with the weather, sports rivalries are heating up too. The Brooklyn Nets beat the Indiana Pacers 130 to 113 Friday, continuing a great season for the team. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for watching Fantastic Five's daily news segment and make sure to tune in tomorrow. I'm your host, Aditi Kashi, signing off.
All right, I had 501.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I had to restart my Wi-Fi router with my parents. It was a whole thing. My Wi-Fi totally pittered out right when I left. Like I couldn't connect to anything. So I really apologize for that inconvenience. I'm so sorry. For the wait.
I think she's within the 15-minute time range, so I think we can have her go next. If we can just let the editorial or the broadcasting room know that we're running essentially 6 minutes behind.
Okay.
They should know. They just asked Becca just asked if we were good and she was here now. And I said
Okay,
yes.
perfect. All right,
So
59.
I think everyone knows.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. I'm so sorry once again. That was so unexpected. I apologize.
That's okay. Glad you made
Okay.
it.
Cool. Right?
All right, ready when I'm ready.
Cool. Can I have 30 and 10 down, please?
Yes. Do you want time cards as well, 4 down, or just the 30 and 10? Okay.
Awesome. All right. Judges and timer ready? Cool. Breaking news today. India's COVID black markets, a prison death court ruling, and Michigan's new COVID plan. You're watching WWAC Daily Dispatch, your home for essential daily news. I am your host, Nicole Zong, bringing you today's top stories from the safety of my home. Now it's time for your updates on the world. As India faces a surge of new coronavirus infections overwhelming its healthcare system, people are taking desperate measures to try to keep loved ones alive. People are turning to unproven medical treatments and the black market for life-saving medications in short supply. While thousands of Indians are desperately battling the COVID-19 war, thousands of villagers are desperately trying to flee Myanmar. The Karen villagers in Myanmar are poised to cross into Thailand if fighting intensifies between Myanmar and the Karen insurgents. About 56,000 people have been displaced by the conflict in Myanmar, and the UN warned that the coronavirus and political crisis could push nearly half the population into poverty. Moving into our stories from the States, the death of a black man while struggling with detention officers at a Texas jail has been ruled a homicide. During what family members say was a mental health crisis, 7 jailers were fired and 1 resigned. The family is calling for their arrests after viewing a video from the jail. While this new ruling is certainly attracting a crowd, cities are doing whatever they can to bring the crowd straight into vaccination sites. Cities around the U.S. have started offering them incentives to try to energize the COVID vaccination drive. Incentives like free beer, pot, and donuts. For health officials, this is part of a more targeted phase of the vaccination effort, focusing on smaller, tailored parts of the community. As the pandemic continues to dominate our lives above ground, underground in California, fracking is coming to an end. Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday took action to ban new permits for hydraulic fracturing starting in 2024, halting the oil extraction method. Newsom also called on the state regulators to evaluate phasing out all oil production in the state by 2045. As Newsom's announcement comes as a reversal from the governor's previous statements that he lacked the authority to ban hydraulic fracturing, commonly known as fracking, it's time for Open Note with Nicole, where we dive into the nitty-gritty details with the facts to back us up. This editorial is the author's only and does not reflect the views of the station. The statewide ban on fracking permits will be imposed administratively in 2024 by the State Department of Conservation. And frankly, I think that this should have happened sooner. While fracking may have revolutionized the oil industry, the downsides outweigh the good. Fracking can poison groundwater, pollute surface water, impair wild landscapes, and threaten wildlife. California's billion-dollar oil and gas industry has already been on the decline after its peak in 1986. Production has already decreased by 2/3 since then and doesn't seem to be on the rise. While some may say that California's goals to achieve carbon neutrality by 2045 is overly ambitious, I commend Newsom for taking this huge step forward in at least an attempt to help the environment. As we have seen the adverse effects of climate change, it's about time our country's leaders stepped in. Back home in Michigan, Governor Whitmer announced the Michigan Back to Normal plan to tie COVID-19 restrictions in Michigan to residents who get their first dose of the vaccine. Under the 4-phase plan, restrictions will ease 2 weeks after 55% of the population receives their first dose. With summer approaching, that means stadiums and gyms may fully be open. While Governor Whitmer is enthusiastic for Michiganders' lives to go back to normal, hopefully hers will as well. New charges have been filed for 3 men accused of plotting to kidnap Governor Whitmer and use bombs for the attack. The charges include conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction, in addition to the federal kidnapping charges that were announced in October. As justice is being served in Michigan, it's a fight for the best players at the top of this year's NFL draft. To open the draft this year, we have a quarterback, and another quarterback. Trevor Lawrence went to the Jacksonville Jaguars, Zach Wilson went to the New York Jets, and Trey Lance landed with the San Francisco 49ers. Jaguars fans celebrated by taking to social media to praise their number one pick. Now for the weather. We've had some crazy weather these weeks, folks, so listen up. Tomorrow there will be a high of 56 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 42 degrees Fahrenheit. After the erratic weather recently, it looks like spring is finally coming. That's all we have for this morning. Have a good rest of your day because tomorrow will be just as eventful. This is WWAC Daily Dispatch, your home for essential daily news. I am Nicole Zong, signing off until tomorrow.
All right, I have 601.
Perfect. Thank you. 601 or
601.
Okay.
All right, 501. Oh my God, 501.
You scared me really quick.
I was
601. Thank you.
Okay, number 56.
Yep, that's me.
Okay, so I'll be doing your timing today correctly. 5 minutes.
Awesome.
So I have cards going down from 4 minutes to 1, and then I do 30 seconds like this, and then last 10 on the fingers.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right. Judges and timer ready? Awesome. Thank you. Finalizing the Brexit deal controversy within the state, malicious schemes against the Michigan governor, and much more today on WFLY News. I'm your host, Kanal Patel, reporting live from my very own home. Today's coverage starts off in Southeast Asia, where the political leaders there have agreed on a plan with Myanmar's chief to end the crisis in the violence-hit nation. According to a statement from the group chair, an agreement was reached with the Myanmar senior general on 5 points. Ending violence, a constructive dialogue among all parties, a special envoy to facilitate that dialogue, acceptance of aid, and a visit by the envoy to Myanmar itself. Speaking of reaching a consensus, the European Parliament has voted by a large margin to give the European Union's final approval to a Brexit deal already beset by difficulties, complaints, and a court challenge. The tally released Wednesday was 660 in favor, with 5 against and 32 abstentions. The vote marks the end of a long, winding, and often bitter road that many have compared to an angry divorce after nearly 45 years of marriage. While a highly debated issue has been settled overseas, tragedy and controversy continue within the home of the brave, when body camera footage was released on Tuesday of a 26-year-old man who died in police custody after officers in Alameda County pinned him face down on the ground for 5 minutes. The footage shows the man Mario Gonzalez becoming unresponsive while in handcuffs. 3 of the police officers have been placed on administrative leave, and 2 independent investigations are now being conducted. Our sincere condolences go out to the Gonzalez family. Shifting our attention to the environmental issues in the nation, Governor Gavin Newsom of California on Thursday took action to ban new permits for hydraulic fracturing starting in 2024. Halting the controversial oil extraction method reviled by environmental activists, and called on the state regulators to evaluate phasing out all oil production in the state by 2045. Now entering the editorial segment called On the Fly. Please keep in mind that the opinions I express are only mine and not those of WFLY or its affiliates. In recent years, many have become more aware of all the damage being done to the environment. However, only some have decided to take action in order to help preserve the environment. I completely agree with and support the governor's decision to ban new fracking permits for a few reasons. First, fracking is obviously very harmful to the environment. It has been proven by many studies to pollute groundwater, increase greenhouse gases, and even cause earthquakes. Some of these will not only hurt the environment, but it will also hurt the people living in the surrounding areas. In addition to that, the end of fracking will motivate California to search for more clean options and put an end to oil extraction definitively. Lastly, the oil and gas industry in California has already been on the decline, so replacing it with a safer alternative will not hurt the economy that badly in the long run. At the end of the day, we only have one Earth. We must do everything in our power to keep it and the people living on it as safe as possible. And that concludes the editorial segment. If you would like to share your own thoughts on today's story, feel free to do so at WFLYnews.com. From the nation's leader to information regarding our very own states, 3 men accused in a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer have been indicted on charges of conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction, federal prosecutors said on Wednesday. The new charges against Adam Fox, Barry Croft Jr., and Daniel Joseph Harris center on an alleged plan to blow up a bridge near Whitmer's vacation home in order to hinder the police during their attempted attack. Zooming into more action being taken within the state, the Michigan House voted Tuesday to support keeping the state on the same time schedule year-round if it is allowed by Congress. If Congress opts to allow states to observe daylight saving time all year, then Michigan would switch to that system only if nearby states such as Illinois also move to do so. Whether rushing down the field or dribbling down the court, athletes are always causing a stir. In a recent sports update, the Detroit Pistons beat the Atlanta Hawks with a score of 100-86. Weather in Michigan changes in a snap, so let's take a look at the upcoming forecast. Today's high is 55 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 34. And that is all the time we have for today's broadcast. From everyone here at WFLY News, we hope you have a wonderful day and stay safe. Until next time, I'm your host, Kanal Patel, signing off. Thank you.
All right, I had 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, and number 54, last but not least.
Hello, I am 54.
All right, perfect. So I'll be doing your time cards today.
Awesome.
So I have them going down from 4 minutes to 1, and then I do the 30 symbol as so, and then last 10 on fingers.
That's perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, all judges and timers ready? Thank you. Live from WNPR, this is Weekend Wrap Up, bringing you the week's top stories in just 5 minutes. In this week's top headlines, illness and death overwhelm India. Biden celebrates 100 days with an address to the nation, and fracking reaches the beginning of its end in California. All of this and more here and now on West Michigan Public Radio. I'm Audrey Clayton. Beginning with a country in crisis, India crossed a grim milestone Wednesday of 200,000 people lost to the coronavirus as a devastating surge of new infections tears through the country and overwhelms healthcare systems on the brink of collapse. With its healthcare system sinking fast, India is now looking to other nations to pull it out of this record surge. Shifting west to a years-long conflict, one of the world's best-known human rights groups said Tuesday that Israel is guilty of the international crimes of apartheid and persecution. This is because of discriminatory policies towards Palestinians within its own borders and in occupied territories. Israel adamantly rejects that characterization, saying its Arab minority enjoys full civil rights. Coming back from across the sea to the land of the free, President Joe Biden declared Wednesday night in his first address to a joint session of Congress that America is rising anew on the verge of overcoming this historic pandemic. Looking to the future, he urged a $1.8 trillion investment in children, families, and education that would fundamentally transform the role of the government in American life. His ideas target frailties that were uncovered by the pandemic, and he argues that economic growth will best come from taxing the rich to help the middle class and the poor. Switching to the subject of today's featured report, Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday took action to ban new permits for hydraulic fracking starting in 2024, halting the controversial oil extraction method reviled by environmental activists, and called on state regulators to evaluate phasing out all oil production by 2045. While Newsom's request amounts to only a study of phasing out oil extraction, it nevertheless is expected to rattle California's billion-dollar oil and gas industry that has already been declining. This is the subject of today's edition of Weekend Commentary. Fracking is not the future of California energy. Nationwide, we are beginning to make wide strides towards cleaner energy, realizing that it's better for our economy and our environment. First, fracking needs to be put in the past in California. It routinely employs toxic chemicals and can expose to people harm from lead, arsenic, and radioactivity that's brought to the surface with fracking flowback fluid. This is a clear health risk. So it's time to embrace the future of sustainable energy. California is already making ambitious strides towards clean energy, on track to hopefully be carbon neutral by 2045. This will obviously have immense environmental and public health impacts. And while some worry that the decline of the oil and gas industry will cause economic distress, the economic benefits of switching to renewable energy are actually immense. The renewable energy industry already employs over 10 million people worldwide and is expanding its workforce fast. It will provide additional income to farmers, lower costs for energy consumers, increase property value, and help save billions of dollars that climate change costs the US government every year. Fracking and oil represent the energy of the past, while California is ready to move on to a greener, cleaner future. This has been today's edition of Weekend Commentary, reflecting the views of the reporter and not WNPR. Moving home to the mitten, conservative activists are mounting a campaign to censure and remove a high-ranking Michigan Republican Party official because he blamed former President Donald Trump, not voter fraud, for the results of last year's election. The push to oust Michigan GOP Executive Director Jason Rowe highlights internal divisions in a party gearing up to take on Governor Gretchen Whitmer and other Democrats in the 2022 midterm elections. Calling a timeout on the news to take a quick look at today's instant replay. Despite signs of hope for next year, the Detroit Red Wings were officially eliminated from a playoff spot on Thursday night in a close 3-1 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes, who are one of the top teams in their division. Wrapping up this weekend report, West Michigan can expect temperatures to remain in the upper 60s through the night. Tomorrow will be breezy and partly cloudy with highs in the upper 70s. It seems West Michigan is finally getting some warmer days. This has been Weekend Wrap Up on West Michigan Public Radio. My name is Audrey Clayton. Thank you and have a great day.
All right, I have your time as 5 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, and I believe that concludes this final broadcasting round. Thank you, everyone, very much. You all did excellent to make it this far in the competition, so congratulations. And regardless of what the scores is, you all did phenomenal.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
night.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thank
Have a
you
nice
both.
night.
That was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad we got through it.
I was worried for a minute.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Bye.